Hello friends and welcome back to my channel where we mainly discuss thrillers on Thursdays, and I have finally gotten around to seeing both the 1989 and both the 2019 versions of Pet Sematary. So today we're going to be discussing which one is better overall and did we really need a remake. You guys have been part of my Year of Horror book club where we're reading one either horror novel or book about a horrifying topic a month. Last month we read Pet Sematary, so I will say, let me know if you guys feel this way. I feel like I'm probably not, but I feel like I'm basically a Pet Sematary expert at this point, having read the book, read a ton about it, and now seen both versions. And do not worry if you have not read the book and you don't want to be spoiled. I'm going to have timestamps down below so you know which sections to listen to if you don't want to be spoiled, and then for the second half of the video it will be filled with spoilers, and at the end I will say which one I think is better. I will say up front, I'm not one of those people who always think the book is better than the movie. I think there are a lot of times when the movie is better than the book, but in this instance I do think Stephen King's novel is much better than both movies. I'll just say that up front. I personally found it a lot more terrifying. So now let's get into reviewing the original and the new movie with no spoilers. So for a brief synopsis, if you at a high level don't know what Pet Sematary is about, the Creed family has just moved to a small town, moved into their new home. You have Lewis, Rachel, and their two children, Ellie and baby Gage, in their cat church, named after Winston Churchill, and they soon discover their neighbor Judd tells them that there is this pet cemetery where for generations families have buried their pets. And I can't really say too much beyond that without spoiling it, so I'll just say that a lot of disturbing things happen for the rest of the book. So first, getting into the 1989 version, I had never seen this until recently. My mom watched it with me and she was really excited because she loves the original. It's also all on YouTube in case you're curious, broken up into different parts. But anyway, the 1989 version, I believe the screenplay was written by Stephen King, and so it's very, very close to the book. In no particular order, I'm just gonna list off things I didn't like and things that I did like. The actor who plays Lewis Creed, very nice to look at, I guess, but personally I did not find his acting to be great, and a lot of times I was almost kind of laughing in instances where things were supposed to be scary, and I think it was kind of more to do with him than maybe the script. But some of the other actors are wonderful. What's his name? Fred Gwynne, who was Herman from the Munsters, plays Judd, and he is fantastic. I could listen to him talk all day. In the book, Victor Pascal did not have any kind of lasting effect on me, but I actually thought the way he was portrayed in the movie was really fun. They had some kind of humor with his character. I don't find him attractive, but just because of his personality was so kind of charismatic, I was like, why am I attracted to this corpse? Or I guess he's technically a ghost, but anyway, he was actually one of the standouts of the movie for me when I can barely remember him in the book. I do think the most terrifying part, and don't worry, this isn't going to be a spoiler, you learn some history with Rachel and her sister Zelda and some terrifying things that happened growing up. Zelda, I thought, was by far the most horrifying aspect of the 1989 movie. Her face, her body, oh my god. I'm glad I didn't see this as, you know, maybe a 6-year-old. I watched a lot of other horror movies growing up, but I'm glad I didn't see this because I think especially if I would have been younger, I think Zelda would have just scarred me for life. Now I'm going to get into reviewing the 2019 version because there's not too much more I can say about the 1989 version without spoiling it. At a high level, the 2019 version I think does take itself a bit more, I do think it takes itself a lot more seriously than the 1989 version, but I am really curious for those of you who are maybe grown-ups watching the 1989 version when it came out, if you happen to be watching it. In my mind, the 1989 version is kind of fun and doesn't take itself too seriously, but I also think that might not have been the intention, and maybe that's just because I feel that way watching it in 2019. But anyway, the 2019 version definitely doesn't have any of the humor that I thought the old version had. The acting in general overall, I mean, I liked the actor for Judd in both movies, but I do think the overall acting in the 2019 version is a lot better. One aspect I did not like about the 2019 version is the fact that friendship that was so important in the book between Judd and Lewis just is completely lost. I could be wrong and I'm way too lazy to check, but I'm pretty sure the first line of the book is about their friendship, and I personally didn't view them as friends in the new movie. I just viewed them as neighbors, so that was kind of sad to see. I thought the kid who played Gage was funny because he looked so much like the kid from the old version, and I kind of wish that there had been kind of just more Gage overall because the kid was just adorable. I have in my notes Mad 417, but I have no idea what this means. Oh, that's a typo. I meant to say I'm mad that I spent $17, if I'm honest, seeing this. It's not that I hated it, but I would have probably preferred just kind of watching it in the background on Netflix instead. Okay, so now we're gonna get into spoilers, first for the original and then spoilers for the new version. So if you have not read the book, if you haven't seen either movie and you're interested, I would recommend exiting off now. So first, talking about the original, we cannot talk about the original without talking about Gage. Oh my god. When he turns, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, Gage, just the actor and everything they did with him with the top hat, like how it's in the book and all of that, it's both the best and worst part of the movie. It's the best in that it's so memorable and really entertaining, but I only say worst because it does make me laugh. Let me know if you watched it at the time it came out. Was Gage scary at the time when you were little watching it or not? But all of his lines when he's like, now I want to play with you, I was cackling, and I kind of mean that in a good way just because it's so bizarre to see this 2-year-old actor. I mean, he's probably literally in diapers stabbing people, chewing on their neck or their face, I forget what it was. I mean, his lines and hearing him cackle, he actually really reminds me of the Katie doll, which I'm sure most of you know what that is. It's my mom's creepy doll Instagram account, but now that I think about it, they have kind of similar personalities, so I'll link that down below in case you want to follow it. But Gage was probably my favorite part of the movie. I also could not get over, I believe the book ends when Lewis has just buried Rachel and she comes back and she says, darling, whereas this movie they take it like a minute farther and she comes in and it's oozing just out her face, just like globs of ooze, whatever it is. And then they just start making out and it's a lot. But again, very entertaining. But now we're gonna get into the new version, talking about spoilers, and then I'll say which one I liked more. So first with the new version, I'm a little irritated that they showed that they switched it to Ellie being the one who dies, because if you actually go see the movie, they could have so easily cut the movie to make it seem like Gage was the one who got hit, just like in the original. Since he does run out in the road in the new one and the dad saves him and then Ellie's there and she gets hit, they could have so easily cut it to make it seem like Gage got hit, and then those people who have read the book or maybe seen the original, that would have been a really fun surprise, but they decided to not do that and just tell us what happens. Now I should say up front, I am not one of those people who thinks that the movie always needs to follow the book. I've seen a lot of reviews online and I've watched some reviews where people are just really irritated that they changed the ending and switched to Ellie. I actually don't mind at all. I don't care if movies change what happens in the book. They're their own medium, whatever, it's not a big deal. And I thought it was a good choice to kill Ellie, only because this actress is able to do a lot more than maybe a 2-year-old would. I will say still though, I almost wish they would have maybe given her a different creepy voice. I don't know if that would have made it more cheesy maybe, but hearing her talk and be angry, some parts were really creepy, but whenever she spoke, it kind of took me out of the movie. I actually almost wish they would have maybe, now that I think of it, just not had her talk at all, because the instances, for example, where he's washing her in the bathtub, trying to like scrub her hair and one of her eyes is all fucked up, I actually thought was really disturbing, and I liked that they added that part that maybe wasn't in the book, or maybe it was and I forgot. Zelda I did not find as scary in the new version, but I thought that the addition of the dumbwaiter was pretty clever, and the one time I was scared in the movie was when Rachel's in her bathroom and opens it up and the dumbwaiter comes down. That did get me. And the only thing I didn't understand, I mean, I assume what happened is that she sent up the food and Zelda went to open the door, but because it didn't go up all the way, I assume that she just like fell down when she meant to be grabbing the food. But it was also just bizarre because I thought that she couldn't really walk around, but who knows. One other aspect I did not like, one of the key parts of the book they also have a little bit, I think in the original, correct me if I'm wrong, was that Lewis has this contemplation about whether or not he should bring Gage back, whereas in the movie it's like boom, right away he just decides to drug Judd and bring Ellie back, and there wasn't really that contemplation, and I wish they would have had a bit more about him just grieving, since that is such a huge theme of the movie and the book. The one aspect I could not get over was because the movie has a lot of gore, so I really assumed when whichever kid got hit by the truck that they would have some gore, but Ellie is just pristine, no blood anywhere, which I thought was just a strange choice. And if you've seen another 2018 horror movie, you know, you can show kids get fucked up by cars. That's not a thing people are unwilling to see if they're gonna go watch a horror movie. So I thought it was strange that they wouldn't even show like a speck of blood on her. People are upset about the ending and how the whole family basically comes back to life. And I don't think I would have minded it if it just had been handled better. When the movie ends with like the car clicking open, it felt too abrupt and not in a fun way. I was just kind of like, oh. Also, he told Gage to not open the car for anyone, including family members, so that kid can't listen to directions. So overall, you can probably guess by the things I've been saying throughout this video, even though I don't think that the 1989 version is a 10 out of 10 movie by any means. It has a ton of flaws. I just overall think the 1989 version is a lot more fun. It also is pretty scary in some parts, and I just really, after seeing the new version, don't really understand why we needed a remake, because I don't think it added anything, maybe except for the dumbwaiter, that one little part. I don't think it added really anything new or refreshing that the original movie didn't already have. I'm really curious. Please let me know your guys' thoughts if you've read the book or seen either version of the movie. What did you think about them? I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you all next Thursday. Bye.